Welcome, New York City and my listeners around the world. This is your host, Elizabeth Tripp. You're listening to my podcast, Nourish the Soul. And I'm so excited to be here. It's a week before Christmas and the major holidays. We're in the countdown to the new year. And so, as you're listening into this podcast, it's truly your time. The way that I've designed the show is for all of my listeners around the world to really take this time to sit back, relax, and go on a journey of self-discovery. As many of you know, I am an empowerment coach, an intuitive healer, and I have a private practice in New York City called Nourish the Soul, where I work with clients deeply to allow them to see the root causes of their imbalances with body, imbalances with health, imbalances in relationships, or overall outlook on life, and just general imbalances and maybe not feeling fulfilled or on their purpose journey. And I love the opportunity to come onto the podcast and share my teachings in a way that offers all of you to really get something out of the show for yourself. So all shows are here for a reason. And I say this every podcast because it's so important that you all remember this each time you're here tuning in, that it's no coincidence that you're here. Something greater than you has guided you to my show. Something greater than you has brought you here with me, and you're tuning in to get something that you've been looking to really get clear with yourself about. Something that you've been struggling to find a balance or peace with. And so it's an exciting opportunity for you to start looking at what you're holding on to that no longer serves you, that you no longer want to carry because it's actually limiting you from being your best you. I thought it would be perfect, leading up to this major holiday. We're all maybe gearing up to see friends and family or travel around the country, and post this next big holiday will be the great new year. And we all know that around the New Year's, we start to start having conversations about our health and our happiness and what we want to start to lay down for shifts or changes, or what I'd like to offer is truly transformation in our well-being. So I thought it'd be great if I designed tonight's podcast or today's podcast with the question in mind, how do we walk in true health and happiness with ourselves? And before I get into this show, before I start diving into that, I also want to take a moment to remind my listeners of an exciting new program I'm putting out come January 2019. Nourish the Soul has designed an online course. It's actually a retreat. And what I will be offering people is the opportunity to transform their health, really begin to create the life they deserve with the body that they desire, with the real happiness that they're looking for, by helping people really become fit with their mind, body, and soul. So my online program is called Be Fit, Mind, Body, and Soul. And who is it for? Well, it's for anybody who's looking to really shift their relationship with food and their body. It's for anybody who has a deep pull to let go of old ways. It's for someone who wants to discover a permanent solution to weight loss or ultimate health and well-being. It's really for that individual that's ready to lead the life they know they truly deserve, the life that they truly want. So the course will premiere in 2019 in January. I have a site that actually is hosting it. It's called befitmindbodysoul.com. And you can visit that and you can explore what the course is going to be offering. There's a ton of perks. There's going to be at least a minimum of 12 videos, 4 meditations. You're going to get a workbook to go along with everything. And a really incredible bonus is I'm going to I have devised this beautiful 7-day high vibrational meal plan. So you're even going to get as an extra bonus, a meal plan that you can follow in the new year to really keep your vibration raised and to allow you to access the health and well-being you already have within. That's the cool part. We're just going to be uncovering some of the layers that have been holding you back from not feeling healthy and this well-being that you are so much looking for. So the course is self-paced. It's for those who want to transform in the comfort of their own home. It takes roughly about 4 to 6 weeks, and all throughout the course, I advise that people really take their time with it to get really the maximum results. So it's so exciting. By February 2019, you're going to be in a totally different place with yourself. You're going to have awoken to ultimate health and well-being, and I'm going to be your guide virtually. So I want you to head over to Be Fit Mind, Body, Soul. Check it out. I'm offering a promo. You can use the code BeFit. You can save $25. The course is at a really affordable price. It's under $250. And for what you're getting, it's just a steal. So head over there, check it out. I know you want to transform or you wouldn't be listening into this podcast. So take the leap. I'm going to be there every step of the way. And I guarantee you that you're going to discover something about yourself that you have always dreamed of accessing, and you're going to leave this retreat feeling better than you ever have and really walking in your best self. So that's my guarantee. And that's risky, to guarantee something like that. But I know the level of work that I do. I know the power in my work, and I'm ready to take you guys all to your next level with your health. So let's move forward. I know you guys are all curious about tonight's podcast, the true health and happiness. And really, the other question to that was, is health and happiness conditional? And so we're going to really explore what makes us happy and what makes us healthy. And are these things conditional? Because oftentimes, around the new year, I hear people saying, and I'm going to start with health first, food intake is what makes me either healthy or unhealthy, or my workout program either makes me healthy or unhealthy. And I want to explore that because I really want us to see, is that really true? Is how we eat really the determinant of how healthy we truly are, or how we work out? Is that the sole determinant of how healthy we feel? And on the flip side of that, we can see the parallels is happiness. Is happiness based off of people, place, and things? It's the same thing. We're saying, if I get this present this year, if my boyfriend gives me a ring, or if my girlfriend, invites me to her parents' house, if I, get the bonus that my boss has been promising me, then I'll be happy. And that puts a condition on our happiness. And when we put conditions on ourselves, it allows for then us to not really stand powerful in claiming what we already have. Doesn't allow us to stand powerful in ourselves. It actually gives our power to external things to be the determinant of our health and happiness. And when we think about that logically, I'm going to be asking you, do we want to give our power to the outside world to determine how healthy and happy we are in ourselves? So that's the question that I want you guys to begin to explore with yourself. And before we get there, I'm going to set the stage in a really unique way. I know that those of you who are dedicated to listening to the podcast, you've heard this message in so many forms and in so many ways, but it's so important to open your mind and your heart up to this new perspective that I want to offer you. And this is coming from a much deeper, more spiritual place. And one thing that I want to, sort of bring to the table before I share this with you is we all are soul beings. We all have a soul energy within us. And our entire existence is really a fabric of energy that has been created by the universe. Everything that exists within our reality is a part of this universal force that's guiding us. Our entire life is a tapestry woven by this higher source in energy. So if we can begin to open ourselves up to that, if we can open our mind and open our heart to see there's a greater source that is guiding us, that is a driving force behind our existence, that we can then hear this message with more clarity and with more understanding. And that is that deep within each of us is a light. There is a light within our bodies, a light that is so bright, it is so incredible. And this light that resides within our vessels, within the bodies in which we walk, the vehicles in which we ride in, there is this infinite source of energy. It's incredible. It is so vast. It is so powerful. It is so full of love and joy and well-being and happiness and health. It is just absolutely out of this world amazing. And this light is connected to a higher energy, we can call it the universe, that's what I prefer. We can call it the creator. We can call it the infinite source of power. Whatever you want to call it, it's been gifted to us. This incredible energy actually shared a part of itself, this incredible energy that has woven our existence, that has created our realities, that has put us forth in this earth journey, has gifted us a light in ourselves. And so we've been gifted with this life and this light to really now walk within our lives, to ignite the light within us. We are here to actually ignite our own lights, to ignite our power, to ignite our health, to ignite our happiness, to ignite our joy, to ignite our belief in ourselves. We have all of this inside of us. We have it. We've again been gifted with all of this from a greater source of energy. And we walk with it. And in our life journey, our purpose is, in some ways, in many forms, to reawaken to what we have, to really learn and grow, to learn the lessons of this soul energy, this soul light, so that we can truly find freedom and balance and ease in our life journey. So as souls, we're in this life journey to really awaken to who we truly are. And it's so it's so incredible, like when I talk about this, because the first thing that comes to mind is I remember all the clients that I've seen. And I see new clients all the time. Each week I have a handful of new clients, and it's typically something that I see quite often is the first thing when people sit down on my couch in my office is they tell me all the things that are broken about them. They tell me all the things that need fixing, and how they feel so unhealed, and that they are not right. And I've said this in so many different ways, and I've brought this into the podcast from many different angles. But I want to remind you that if we have this incredible energy within us, there is no possible way that any part of us is broken. And there's no possible way that we need healing, because we already are healed. And there's no possible way that we need fixing, because we are already fixed. We have everything we need inside. And it is now our challenge in this life to really awaken, to access it, to harness its power, and then apply it to our journey, so then we can feel purposeful and really then walk in our health and happiness. It comes from the inside. It is not an outside experience. The outside is what triggers us to get present to our lack of feeling or acknowledging or having access to this energy. And those are called the wants and the desires. And I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. And so what we're saying there is then I'm not feeling that. And here's where I want us to slow down. So I want you guys to take a minute to just, absorb what I'm saying. I am bringing us onto a little bit higher of a level. And so let your mind just absorb that, and give yourself a second to explore. And as you do that, I'm going to slowly start to bring us into this question. How do we experience health? So we're going to start with health. Let's first start by understanding this, okay? The basis of health. Health is a feeling, okay? It's a feeling of vitality, wellness, energy, goodness, vigor, strength. And, if we don't feel most of those things on a daily basis, we may call ourselves unhealthy. So unhealthy is also a feeling. It can be sluggish, run down, tired, malaise, sick, or disease. So here is what I want to explore, okay? Now that I've set the stage, I've shared my perspective that we have gifts from the universe of we have everything we need inside of us already. So that's my perspective, and I want to be fair and let you explore this for yourself. And so here's what I want to ask you is, then what causes us to feel healthy or unhealthy? Okay. Is it truly food? Is it truly food, or is it because we've missed a workout? Or is it because we didn't get that gift? Or is it because we did land that bonus, or we got that great boyfriend or girlfriend? Or, it seems our partner is really showing up for us. Again, those are all outside things. And so I want us to start to really explore, is health and happiness outside of ourselves? Are those the things that truly make us then healthy or happy? Or perhaps, think about it this way, or perhaps what drives us to eat healthy or not healthy food? What drives us to get to the gym or not? What drives us to, do all the things we have to do at work to get that bonus? What drives us to want that ring or want that gift or present? And here's where I want you guys to start thinking. This is the game changer. How we feel really influences how we think. How we feel influences how we think. So let's slow down to that. Our feelings really shape our thoughts. And when we say the way we eat or how we work out is the source of our health, we're making health then conditional. What if our health was a feeling? And that when we feel good, then we want to eat good foods. And when we feel good, then we can more easily commit to going to the gym and find that space within our calendar to have that structure in our lives. And so when we don't feel good, opposite side of that, when we don't feel good, then what kinds of thoughts do we have about ourselves and about who we are? And if we're not having healthy thoughts about ourselves and who we are, do you think we're going to have healthy behaviors with ourselves? Are we going to then have healthy actions with ourselves? And so, for an example, okay, you might have feelings of anxiety around this time of year, or worry, or maybe there's some pressure. And so that's going to be a feeling that you have in your body. And if we don't know how to really let those feelings out, then we're going to hold on to them. And if we hold on to feelings in our body, right? If we hold on to feelings in our body, then they don't really get a chance to, move out and be expressed and released, that they actually stay stuck and they can then influence our thoughts. Because do you think our body likes to hold on to heavy things? If we think about it, feelings are kind of, they're weighted. And what you can do to experience that is you can even put out your hand with me, and you can put the feeling of anxiety and you can put the feeling of worry into your hand, and you can see that inside your hand, if you think about worry, if you think about anxiety, I wonder if it feels light or it feels heavy. And I'm going to actually really assume, because it feels heavy for me right now, that it feels heavy for you too. So imagine if that was in your body. Imagine if that was in your body. That doesn't make our body feel that great. And so if our body's not feeling that great, our mind is actually not going to feel that great. Our thoughts aren't going to be that great. And so how we feel really influences how we think and how we behave. So as we hold on to this energy, then we might start thinking, I gotta do all these things. I have to buy all these presents. I have to get all of this done, and I gotta finish this end of the year project. Or, I'm just not looking forward to going home and having to deal with all the chaos of my family. And so we start to build more and more pressure and anxiety. And this is where conversations can start with, oh, well, that drink will make me feel better, or, that cookie looks really good, or some chocolate's going to calm me down. And it might even be like a subconscious reaction. We might just really find ourselves opening up the refrigerator door and looking in, like, what's there to eat. And so we can see then our thoughts really drive our actions. And when we eat that food or when we go for that drink, we can momentarily make ourselves feel better. But then it only reignites another conversation, which is usually, I wish I didn't do that. Now I don't feel that good. Now okay, I'm not going to drink for another couple days, or I'm going to swear off cookies until Christmas Day. And that's because we're starting to shape a conversation. My health is dependent on what I consume. It's dependent on what I'm taking in. And so it's not to say that these things don't influence how we feel, because they do. If you really think about it, the energy of, a cookie and alcohol, If we put that in our hand, on our other hand, and we hold it, and then in our opposite hand, we put like grapes or an apple or an orange, we're going to feel the vibrational differences in them. The cookie and the alcohol, explore it. Does it feel heavy or lighter? Does it feel, more inviting in terms of energy, or does it feel a little bit like weighted? And oppositely, in the other hand, where you imagine you have an orange or grapes or, a big, beautiful, big glass of orange juice, feel it. Does it feel lighter? Does it have a difference in its energy? So you can see that stemming from how we feel influences the thought and then influences the behavior with food. And so food can really either bring down our energy vibration, our health, or it can enhance it. But it's not a condition for health. It actually isn't the sole source of our health. It's an enhancement to it. But the real root of the health that we are either experiencing or not experiencing is based on our own feelings. We can't access true health if we are bottled up with our emotions. We can't access it. We will always be having a struggling conversation within our mind. We will always be at a battle with ourselves between, did I do enough? Did I do too much? I should have done that. If I do this, if I have this to eat, then I'll feel better. If I work out this way, then I'll get healthier. And so we start to put these conditions on ourselves, which then only draws more and more pressure or anxiety or frustration into our life when we don't meet what we've said is our source of health, when we don't follow the actual plan that we've actually then set out for ourselves, because we're saying, well, it's always going to be outside of me. It's always outside of me. And therefore, it's not attainable inside of me. I only get it when I reach for it outside. And so we're basically just giving all of our power away to food, to the gym, and saying, well, that's how I get healthy. And really, if we listen to that, then what we're telling our mind is, I'm not healthy. So how good are you going to feel? How healthy is your mind going to respond to that? Well, it's not. It's going to go, yeah, I know I'm not good enough. And I tried and I can't quit this bad habit, and I'm never able to follow through. So we only then anchor ourselves in a more destructive conversation. A destructive conversation that then leads us to cyclical roller coasting behavior with food in our body. That's why every new year, there's always a new diet. This thing isn't old. This food and diets is like centuries. Ancient civilizations have been trying to figure out what to eat for ultimate health. Guys, if it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years, is food really the answer? Or are we just in the middle of a puzzle with ourselves? And this is a completely new concept, that it's how you feel. It's based off of the feelings that you either keep in or let out. Because here's the thing, and we've talked about it in many different podcasts. If we let our feelings out, we raise the vibration of our body. Think about that anxiety and that worry that you held in your hand, how heavy it was. If we let that out of our bodies, we actually release that heavy energy. We feel better. And when we feel better, our thoughts are healthier. And when our thoughts are healthier, our behavior is healthier. So when our behavior is healthier, we have more power over how we want to choose, how we want to feel. We then have the power to say, okay, well, I don't want to hold on to that anxiety and worry, because it actually makes me do not so healthy things with my body and food. And I know that inside of me is this really great wealth of vitality, and I can access it by letting go. So, food and exercise, in my beliefs, in the way that I help my clients, is that it is not conditional to our health. Our health is already inside, and we've been gifted with it. And once we claim that we are healthy, we can actually begin to release what it is that holds us back from not actually standing in that consistently with ourselves. We can take a look at the feelings that we're having that drives us to drink, that drives us to overeat, or drives us to undereat, or drives us to not work out. And we can, once we get to the root of those, clear them out and start really uncovering the health that you have inside. And here's the thing, too. I like to flip it around because I think we're more familiar with the conversation. Happiness is not conditional. I'm sure many of you have heard that, this if-then conversation. Well, it's the same thing rings true. The same thing rings true, that if we say happiness is the present, and happiness is the girlfriend or boyfriend, and happiness is, the house has got to be super cleaned, and, there can't be anything out of order, or it's the bonus, from the boss, or it's the success or fame, whatever, then we're essentially using it just like we're saying health is, conditional on food and working out. We're saying it's all outside. And if we're saying it that it's outside, how perfect is the outside world? It's just not. It's not designed that way. Things don't work out. People don't give you the gift. The ring never comes. The paycheck is a lot smaller, sometimes. Or the success doesn't happen at the speed that you are looking for. So if we put weight on the outside world to fill our cups, then we are going to be in a consistently disappointing conversation with ourselves. And that only draws in more of what we don't want, more of what we are looking to get rid of. And as we start to wrap things into a nice little line here of seeing these steps as we put them together, it's a great place for some storytelling. I love sharing stories on my podcast. Vulnerability for me is a space where I continually let go. I continually allow my body to be free from the past, be free from energy that would weight me. So this one particular, in thinking about this, is related to health. And it begins like when I was growing up, probably around the age of 12 and 13. And many of you guys have heard these other stories around that time. But it was right around that time that I was starting to notice that, my body wasn't the way that I, felt confident and comfortable in. I was like this growing teenage girl, and for some years now, I had been using food in a way to sort of comfort myself. So I carried extra weight, and I felt the judgment of my peers. I was starting to feel the shame and the uncomfortability in myself. And I started to have a conversation with myself. And essentially it was that, if you don't eat that food, then you'll get to a body weight that will be happier for you. So I started to look outside myself because I didn't know any better. I was a 12 or 13-year-old. I mean, who knows any better than that? And where do we look for our, how to deal with stuff? We look around us. We see what other people are doing. And so my soul was looking around, and it was wanting to release, and it was wanting to get clear, but it didn't have a way for me to know any different, which was for a good thing because it set me up for quite a life, and it brought me here today. So I started to look at food, and I started to look at exercise as, means of creating health for me. And so I, started skipping meals and skipping, actually working out more. So I started skipping the meals and working out more, running around my neighborhood, around, the block, and, telling my parents, oh, I already had breakfast or I already had dinner. And I lost weight, I lost it quickly. And the thing is when I got to the weight that I wanted to be, I still didn't feel that healthy. Actually felt tired. I felt confused. I felt more anxious. I felt more, insecure. And so my health didn't improve. It actually, in many ways, based on my thoughts, got worse. And I got short-term kind of feel goods like, oh, you look so great, and oh, these boys like you now, and I felt like at the gym I could, maybe wear different outfits, but for very short periods of time did that last. It wasn't a long-lasting feeling of good. And because I was putting it on the condition that it was food and exercise that was going to make me happy, the more I needed to focus my attention on that, the more obsessed I got with food, the more obsessed I got with exercise. And later on, then the more fed up with I got it and was like, well, screw that. I'm just going to blow the eating program. I'm going to blow it and I'm going to not go to the gym. And so I swung to the other side of the pendulum. And that's where I, started to feel that lazy, sluggish, not feeling of good health and, even more. So the point of the story, guys, as you see, is that the unhealthiness, never went away, no matter what I tried to do on the outside. No matter if I went to the gym consistently or if I ate all the, fruits and vegetables and the no carbs and the meats and things, it didn't change the feeling that I had on the inside. The feeling still existed. And in fact, because that feeling still existed, it almost made those things in ways, I overcompensated with them to some extremes, whether that be follow the plan to a T or don't do anything at all. And I know so many people do that. And that's the same thing with happiness. So many people say, it's got to be this, this, and this. Just just this weekend, I'm looking around my apartment and I'm having this conversation with myself about okay, if the house stays clean, then I'll feel good. And it's like, no, Elizabeth, that you can't simply have that conversation. That's your little girl self. That's your little girl saying that you need things a certain way. Let's communicate to our roommates about what we want, but certainly know that it's not a condition that needs to be met in order for us to feel good. So it's like you have to stop yourself and you have to pause yourself to that little boy and little girl conversation, because that's what it is. Because we learned that things were conditional outside of ourselves back then. And that's when our little boy and little girl self took our wheel of our car and started driving. And like I've said before on other shows, that little boy or girl can't touch the pedal and look over the wheel at the same time. So we're going to be swerving all over around in life. And I'd like to make it easier for you. We are here to learn and grow. Adversity is part of the program. In Monopoly, you're going to have some players that are always going to get all the really expensive properties, and you're going to land on it and you're going to have to pay $1 million to be there. And that's the same thing with life. Things are going to happen. Our health is going to be challenged. Our happiness might be challenged, but it's all inside of us. If we can trust that it's already here, we can know that as we meet these challenges, as this adversity comes into play, that we need to just shift what we're feeling. We need to transform it so that we can re-access and reawaken to ourselves. And that's the kind of work I like to do. And that's the kind of work I like to offer in my online retreat and at my retreats that I hold around the city. This work is to take you to the next level with yourself, to really allow you to lead the life you deserve. And so as you go into this holiday, I want to plant this seed for you. If it's not outside of you, then what inside of you do you already have that is healthy and happy today? Do you already have eyes that can see? Do you already have legs that can walk? Do you already have a vocal cord that can speak? Do you already have members of family that care for you? Do you already have a safe place to lay your head at night? So what do you have already inside of you? Inside of you. Do you have good feelings? Do you have gifts that you know you're talented at? Do you have something you can do that you see that not everybody else can do? We all have them. And that's where our happiness lies. And we can start to see that our health is already here too. We already have that. And if we don't, then we actually want to see how has our thought process influenced us to not feel that way. Because when we hold on to that energy, that's when we feel dis-ease. That's when we feel illness. That's when we feel tired, sluggish, not well. And that's when life becomes triggering and it becomes challenging. And that's not what I want for you this holiday season. So we're going to wrap up today's podcast, and I'm going to ask you to take action. If you're listening to this and something has come up for you and you want to get to the bottom of it, I want you to head over to my website, elizabethmtripp.com, and you can experience a one-on-one session with me where I will deeply guide us into the root cause of what has been imbalancing you, and I will empower you to let it go, and I will empower you to create a brand new version of yourself. And I will be using the universe and spirit guides as a source of our support and as a means to help us powerfully in these sessions. And I guarantee you, you will come out having shifted something in your life that you didn't see as clearly as you do after you work with me. So that's elizabethmtripp.com. And I wish you all a very healthy and happy holiday. So this is Elizabeth signing out. Love and light.